I'd love to know where you're watching from as well. I feel like we're mainly the UK, aren't we? UK girlies in the house. Love that. And grab yourself a drink. We've got quite a few things that we're going to go through tonight. Get comfy. Oh, Texas. Roof is in Texas. Love that. Tonight is going to be really good. We've got quite a bit to go through, and I'd love you to stay to the end. I've got something for the girlies that are really ready to do this 8 week reset and go into summer feeling absolutely incredible. I'm going to share my screen and I'll just get straight into it. Oh my gosh, I'm not sure. It's just saying Zoom user, but I love that you're driving actually right now. Please be careful though. I love that. Okay, Clodag. I've definitely not pronounced that right. Can't turn my camera on because I'm currently working. Not to worry. We're here and we're here in spirit. So I'll get straight into it and share my screen. But I hope you've all had a lovely day so far. Okay. Right. Can we all see my screen? Could you just let me know?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can see it.
Perfect. Right. I'll just expand that. So yeah, welcome to the Summer 8 week reset call. This is where we're going to get into a lot of things that I feel like hold us back and just unpack things sort of from a root cause perspective as well, rather than just like look at nutrition or just look at our workouts. And I want to start by saying June is a particular month where I really feel like it brings up a lot of panic because generally we've got holidays coming up or feeling like summer's here, and like, oh, am I behind? Am I not where I want to be? And then this kind of urgency to start just throwing everything like the kitchen sink, thinking, do I need to jump into something really restrictive? And I just want to say there is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to feel incredible in a bikini or incredible in your skin, wanting to feel leaner, more confident, a little bit snatched. Like that's not something that's shallow. That's human. And I really feel like a lot of the time it's usually the approach that we go at, say, wanting to feel like a certain way that's totally sort of wrong, like by restricting everything or going straight into a 2 week fad and then just losing your mind by literally day four. Like it doesn't need to be that difficult. And what I want to really share is just that approach doesn't work. Like how many of us have tried that and it's always the same kind of outcome. And deep down you know that, like at this point, like we've all done that enough with like diet culture and everything. And getting to a space where like food doesn't feel like a battle is just one of the best places, and like I'd love to be a part of like helping you get to that point if you feel like you're constantly having to overthink about food or feeling like you're just starting over every single Monday or thinking you've just not found your groove or flow. So that's the main things. Does this resonate with anyone so far? Like does anyone sort of feel that way?
Yeah, definitely. I would say I go through, I'm very motivated, and then, I'll kind of do it and disciplined, and I'll do it for like a week, and then, I get out of routine, and then something changes, and then I'm like, feel like I'm just constantly starting over. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. There's lots of yeses as well in here. Yeah, a lot of yeses. Okay. Yeah, you're going to find this really useful then. So I did want to start just with a little bit of context because I have been like that girl for a really long time. Like, quick bit about me. So I was the girl who was just either all in or completely all off. So on that left picture, here, I was actually training really, really hard, probably 6 times a week, eating what I thought was perfectly. Hang on, I'm just letting a few people in. And one thing would sort of throw me off, and I was just back at square one. And this kept me stuck for like 6 years. I would say like consistently, and my weight was constantly yo-yoing and up and down. And I knew a lot about nutrition, like how to train, but I just couldn't make it stick, or I felt like I couldn't have my favorite foods and whatnot. And I think ultimately the problem wasn't actually the plan, it was just what was going on underneath. So I was very stressed a lot of the time, like a lot of emotional eating, and my nervous system was just running on chaos. And I'd say the biggest shift for me was when I started working on that, like regulating my emotions, my nervous system, like, and becoming more kind of spiritually in tune, like with meditation, mindset work, like things became so much easier, which is kind of what I was saying in the beginning. Like, it really isn't, you can't just address the food. The food is so much more of what's going on in our minds. And that's a big part of why I built Flowness like the way I built it, because it is addressing like different parts and looking at things as a whole big picture rather than just, like doing like a workout program or plan. And then I also wanted to share Jess, just as this is what's worked for me. Like, you can see my pictures here, what my approach has done, but also this is Jess, who is a really busy mum. She came to me and this was her 8 week results, with sort of applying a lot of the principles that we're going to talk about today, just so that I can share that it's not something that's just worked for me. Um, but yeah, so what we'll cover tonight mainly is that stop start cycle and how it's not actually usually what you think, the mistakes that are actually keeping you stuck, and that you can start making changes from today, from this call alone, how to build real consistency without it feeling just like this grueling, punishing thing. And then also the habits that move the needle. So looking at things like our hormones, inflammation, all of it, rather than just thinking, oh, I just need to lose fat. A lot of the time we can mistake just inflammation for, say, fat or like water retention. And then at the end, I'm showing what I've put together for anyone who wants to do this over 8 weeks. So yeah, the real reason that you keep starting over, and I want to be really clear, like, I spent so long sort of punishing myself, thinking, oh God, maybe I'm just like a lazy person, or like, how can someone consistently wake up at the same time each day? And it's not a willpower problem. It's not that you don't want it enough. Like, I remember people saying to me, oh, if you want to lose fat, it's simple. You just like make a decision. I could never get my head around that or resonate with that. And it's usually down to these three things. So all or nothing thinking, which I feel like we're all very familiar with just from the comments alone, thinking if it's not perfect, it doesn't count. So say if you've had one biscuit, you think like the day's ruined. So then all your choices off that one biscuit at 10 in the morning or whatever just go totally out the window. And then another part of that is motivation as the engine, which is again like one of the most fleeting things. And it's just like, as an analogy, your phone battery. So that starts at 100%. By 3 p.m., when you're tired, you've had a long day, a long afternoon at work, and there's a cookie or a biscuit on the counter and it's at 12%. It's that kind of choice, and just knowing yourself, like being able to view things from a bigger sort of picture. Like, you can't build a body on a feeling that drains like a battery would, for example. Like, we need to look at things from a bigger lens. And then another thing is doing the things but not being the actual person. So it's easy to say, right, I'm going to follow a plan, but if you are not becoming someone who actually lives that way, so like that identity shift with our lifestyle habits. So say if you can stick to certain things, like certain ways of eating for a really short window of time, but then your lifestyle's not aligning with those things. So say it could just be something as simple as like, if you've got loads of unhealthier sort of food in the fridge or around, it's just going to make it a lot more difficult to be able to stick to healthier habits. So just looking at stuff like, how can I make it easier so it's just part of my lifestyle, and it doesn't need to be that you don't, like you don't have your favorite foods in there, but just thinking, how can I make things simpler by not buying certain things or clearing out the fridge, especially if it's like a trigger food, something that you really struggle to have self control around. That can usually be a good starting point. Then I'd say, what one of these would you say is what you find the hardest, or like that makes the most sense when you see it? Like, is it the perfectionism?
Yeah, I would say if it's not perfect, it doesn't count. So I would very much be like, oh, well, I haven't had my water today. So, that's going to ruin it for the whole week type thing. That would be it for me.
Yeah, that's good. Like, just start. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
I was just gonna say mine is actually nutrition. It's none of those.
Okay.
It's no matter what I eat, I look 6 months pregnant and I'm not intolerant to a lot of things. Like, I've done the tests and it's just that's just kind of starting to defeat me now. It's like I'm really healthy. I don't eat a lot of junk food, but I still look out of shape, so it makes no sense to me.
Mhm. It could, have you looked at your sleep for one part of that?
No, I've
No.
not really tracked that, no.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like, I think it's like addressing one thing at a time. So like you say with the nutrition, and if you've done, especially if you've done tests, then it's looking at, right, how much sleep am I getting? Like sleep can be a big driver in inflammation and also like stress levels and cortisol. That's a big
Hmm.
part. Yeah, this will definitely help. Hang on, just here. That's good to know though. Like we're all this is the other thing. Like we can't compare. Like one of us, some people find nutrition much easier. Others find sleep really difficult. Like I'd say that's a big pillar that if we're say averaging like 5 hours of sleep, that's going to impact our hunger levels. Like this, it's going to have such a knock on with your actual choices the next day. And something when you're like, oh no, I don't need that much sleep. Like that's such a common thing, isn't it? You know, them people that are like, I
Yeah.
get by on like 4 hours sleep. And I think, yes, you can, but what's the impact that's having like on your body, on your mind?
Hmm.
Yeah. It's great to know. Okay, and then yeah, I feel like off the back of that, a lot of the mistakes and sort of the root causes is doing too much too fast. So say if I think this is a common one, say if you've had an injury or like you've had a busier phase of life, like we all have that, like you can go from being the fittest person, say 6 months ago, and then like life happens, doesn't it, sometimes, and you need to take a couple months off or something's sort of gone on, and then you compare yourself to like that past version that was maybe training 5 6 times a week and a lot fitter, so you go in like hard, going from zero workouts to six a week, and then wondering why like you're absolutely exhausted, and it's usually just too much too fast. So by day 10 of a new program, like you're totally burnt out every single time. Another part of that is like tracking perfection, not progress. So again, with that biscuit analogy, like one missed workout, one bad meal, and your whole week is written off. Like I'd say that's the biggest mindset switch and shift. If you can just start identifying that, like where you're sabotaging yourself, like with that mentality, it's like a penny drop moment when you can be like, oh, I don't need to make all these are the different choices today based on like one thing that's gone slightly wrong. And then waiting to actually feel ready. So waiting for the right Monday. Like, don't get me wrong, it's nice, isn't it? Like having a fresh new month, the first of a month or a fresh Monday. But that all or nothing is like getting a flat tire. You know, you might have a slow puncture in one, but it doesn't mean that all four tires are slashed and like you can't move that. You know, you can't move the car. You fix the slow puncture and then you can keep driving, kind of thing. So just thinking of that in your head. Which mistake here would you say sounds most like you?
I would say the one bad day.
One bad day, yeah.
Yeah, I think I have one bad day and then I'm like throw it all out the window almost.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think we've all been there as well. Like it's just part of the process, I think. But just being clear and like identifying, right, is this self-sabotage that's coming in, and then just keeping stuff moving, I think, as well. Then a little exercise. This is a really nice one. So for the girlies who are not driving, like please don't close please don't close down your eyes. I just want you to close down your eyes, just for close down sounds funny, doesn't it? Close your eyes down for a second, and I just want to do a little bit of visualization with you. So I want you to just have a think. It's the 30th of July. You've been consistent for 8 weeks now. Not perfect, but you have been consistent for 8 weeks for the first time, possibly. Like you've really consistently kept that up. And you wake up at the time that you like to wake up, where you feel like you've got enough time and you're not rushing around. And you don't immediately think about, say, your body with dread, your day with dread, and you get dressed and you genuinely like what you see. Your face feels clearer, less puffy, a little bit more snatched, more defined, and you've been eating more whole foods, consistently drinking water. You feel like that inflammation's eased right down, and you feel, you know, that inner sense of just like lightness, like you're not waking up with all that heaviness, and energetically just, it's such a like I think we all know that feeling, but it's such a nice, just energetic lightness. And you're at a rooftop bar with some of your girlfriends or your partner, wherever summer takes you, and you feel quite present. You're not doing that weird sucking in thing, and you're not actually hiding, but you're just there. And that version of you is not some fantasy at all. Like, it's so within reach. And that's just 8 weeks. Like, 8 weeks can really, really impact a lot. Not, I wouldn't say 4 weeks, but 8 weeks. 4 weeks, you've started building the habits that are easy to stick, but that 8 week mark is different. So just see what else sort of comes into your mind, like what it feels like really tap into what it would feel like. And then when you're ready, you can open up your eyes, and I would love to hear, what does that version of you look like? Where are you? And if you could share that with me in the chat. I don't know what that sound is. Oh, Nicole, that's really nice, actually. For me, it was my wedding day. Really confident. Oh, that's lovely. Roof, fresh, light, breathing. Guys, I'll just be thinking. I'm trying to work out where that sound's coming from. Can everyone else hear that as well? Wait, I'll just have to do something. Oh, there we go. Yeah, right. What comes up, Nicole? What comes up for you?
Yeah, feeling confident on my wedding day, not worried about how I am looking, just feeling very free, light, confident, and it sounds weird, but content comes to mind. Because I think, we spend so long worried about how we're going to look and, the pressure and just in everyday life, not even on wedding, but it would be so nice to just feel so free and knowing that it is possible.
Yeah.
You just got to be disciplined. I think that's a really exciting feeling and a really, fulfilling feeling, I suppose.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you for sharing that. That's so lovely. Becca, would you mind sharing?
No, I don't mind sharing at all. I agree with Nicole. Like, I feel like it's confidence, like in your body and like the mindset too. Like, just being able to like feel confident and not again think about, oh, I look. Do you know, like when you think you look a certain way and other people are saying to you, no, like you don't look like you've put on weight and things like that, but like in yourself, like you feel good, and like look good too, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a narrative, isn't it, at the moment? Like, I feel like it's so nice when people are like, oh, you might have gained weight or whatever, but it's all about how you genuinely feel, isn't it? It doesn't matter when someone's like, oh, you look amazing at whatever weight, but it's all your habits that have sort of caused certain things. And I think, yeah, it's what you feel, as long as it's happy, well, you're happy, you're healthy. Because don't get me wrong, like there's no point aiming for, say, if it's an unhealthy goal that you would simply just like lose your period. Like, what's the point of aiming for something like that? Because it doesn't align with health. But it can all tie together, like a functioning healthy body. But what your version of maybe leaner is, like what that looks like, it's unique. So yeah, I totally love that. And I would love to hear. Your name isn't showing; it just says Zoom user. Hang on.
Is that me?
Yes. What's your name?
I'm Olivia as well.
Oh, another Olivia.
I finished work at 7 and raced straight home. So that's why I was driving. Just remind me, Olivia, what was the question that you were asking?
It was just no, don't worry. It was just it was an exercise, just like a visualization of how you feel. So say 30th of July, and you've consistently stuck at making changes, like how you'd feel like 8 weeks from now.
I kind of just want to feel like I've got like a solid routine down in my lifestyle. I kind of want like join this for the holistic approach. I want to develop better habits and just live like a better lifestyle and also feel comfortable in the clothes that I'm wearing as well. I think
Yeah.
that's quite a big one for me. So I'd probably say if I visualize myself on like the 30th of July,
Yeah,
I'd like to see myself in like a really good routine.
love that.
I've not really done any meditation or anything before, so I'm pretty much like really keen to get into that. So I'd like to see
Oh my
myself.
God.
You know, I watch a lot of your YouTube, so I'm kind of like love the fact that you're up in the dark at 6 a.m.
Oh, love that.
Meditating. So I'd quite like, like similar lifestyle, really. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm like excited for you because when you first start like meditation and doing just some inner work, like, oh, it's life changing. I'm excited for you, but it's gonna be incredible 8 weeks.
I can't wait.
Right, I'll get back to this screen. Where has it gone actually now? Oh, hang on. Share. Bear with me, guys. Let me just can we all see that again? Yeah. Oh, God, I'm like a grandma, like with text stuff, like zooming into the screen. Right, you can see that, yeah, just to double check. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we've done that like desired state. That's so nice to hear, by the way. Like it's so possible as well. Sometimes things can feel far away, but they're really not. And then, yeah, I did want to mention if you are someone who, oh God, hang on. I can't cope with me, guys. We look like we're off to the Maldives then for a split second. Did want to just go over like the cost of inaction if, say, if you're not to make any changes. Like, of course, that's saying like nothing changes if nothing changes, and it's all on you to make that, that decision where you're like, no, I really do want to change something. And in 8 weeks from now, you could be 2 to 4 kg lighter, and not in a drastic way, like not in something that's unsustainable, but for good, and not done through a crash diet or anything like that. Like sustainably, it's a realistic rate of loss to lose 0.5 kg a week, completely doable, and in a way that doesn't feel punishing or like you're having to sabotage or having to sacrifice parts of your life. If anything, you'll find that you're eating more than you were before, like fueling properly and feeling incredible because of the food choices you're making, like more whole foods. And if you are someone as well who stress eats a lot, this would be 3 to 4 less stress eating episodes a week, which is 150 times a year from eating from fear, not actual hunger. And again, that's not necessarily a food problem. Like sometimes we'll blame food and say, oh, it's because I live with someone and they just buy like unhealthy food choices. But a lot of the time it's that nervous system that's just totally unregulated. We are all at a million miles per hour and just running around sometimes like feeling like we're in a hamster wheel. And a lot of that, the meditations and just slowing things down really creates that space where you can start noticing sort of patterns within yourself. And then number 3 is just that 8 weeks from tonight, so 30th of July, you're either feeling it, you're either living it, or seeing results in so many different ways, or you are exactly where you are right now. And then, yeah, consistency. This is a big part of it. So how do you actually change this? And again, the body really does follow the mind. So consistency is definitely not a personality trait. It's just like a skill, like any other skill that you build. So if you think about driving and how the first few times driving feels just impossible, doesn't it? Like too many things at once. Like if you think back to your first driving lessons, or if you've driven like a motorbike or anything like that, like it feels so foreign. And then now you don't even think about changing gear. And that is how I like to think of building this routine that we're going to be working on over the next 8 weeks. You're literally building a routine that runs on autopilot, and you're becoming the identity of someone with discipline that is consistent. And it comes back to a lot of the nervous system side of things, because that is such a big part of like being regulated in your routine and feeling like you're not having to overthink what workouts you're doing or what you're actually eating. And that brings me on to starting smaller than you actually think. So I think a big goal for a lot of us is to just stop actually stopping. So it's not always to do more, because I think we all know we can go hard for a couple of days or like a week, you know, you start overphasing yourself, but then it's that stop start that is probably the most sabotaging thing. So actually stripping things back to, can you just commit to doing, like starting with a 20-minute walk a day, like that beats a 90-minute session that you do once a week, you know, like just having that consistency. And then creating tiny anchors, so 2 or 3 non-negotiables that happen regardless of how you feel that day. Like, again, just thinking, right, I'm following the plan, I'm not following my mood, because as women as well, like our moods do fluctuate, especially late luteal phase. Like this week, the amount of times I wanted to skip on things, but it's having that knowledge of like knowing, okay, I'm here in my cycle. This is usually when I make more kind of like life, don't write anyone else, the week before my period, I just decide to tear my whole life apart, or like I'm more irritable. So just understanding where you are with that. And then really thinking about like identity first. So stop saying I'm trying to eat better, for example, like as a line. Start saying I am someone who nourishes her body, and your brain follows that story that you tell itself ultimately. And then rebuilding consistency. So yeah, I just wanted to put on the screen some of the flowy girls as well, who've built a lot of consistency here, and just go over this. So if you want to take a look, so yeah, to stop starting, the tiny anchors, and saying I am, like that is such a powerful statement, those words, like I am, I already am her. Like that's one of my favorite things, that if I'm having a moment where I've had a rejection or like a door's closed, there's just something I'll say in my head, like I already am her, or I'm like I am capable, and that builds some energy inside you for absolute sure. And then the simple habits. So again, just keeping stuff as simple as possible. Like, what are we actually working towards? Like, is it a tighter core, you know, sculpted lower body? Is it having more actual energy and not overtraining and not under eating? Is it having more things in moderation? Because what is a life if you can't have a glass of wine or a piece of chocolate? Like, that's not the goal, you know, even if you could commit to that for say 4 weeks, but ultimately, like, what is that? That's a boring life. I think without that, it could be what we spoke about, like lowering stress, which is then in turn going to lower inflammation, because your body is actually in a state of being able to let go of the fat. And that is so connected. So sometimes we can think, God, I'm ticking every box, I'm grafting my ass off, and I'm not seeing like the results that I want. And usually it's if we're in that constant fight or flight response, because we're, say, expecting ourselves to perform at work, to perform in the gym, to perform, you know, be your mother and you're working crazy hours, like something's got to give somewhere. So looking at that stress and how you can simplify things definitely goes a long way. So these are the simple habits that I would focus on: movement, whole food based meals, and really looking at your sleep. And then things like a weekly check-in. So a check-in with yourself, just where you're like, how's this week gone with like my workouts, with my food, and just thinking more of a holistic approach, like, okay, how can I be slightly better next week, but just 1% each day, rather than thinking everything needs overhauling completely. And then you might be thinking as well now, like, before I show you what I have built, I know there's these 3 things will be coming up. So what if I don't have time? So the busiest women that I've worked with in the past seem to get the best results, which I think is like, it's kind of ironic really, but it is built, I think it comes down to like, this is built for your actual life, like not just some ideal one, and not big blocks of times, like just more about doing the right things consistently. So more like less is more as an approach than anything. And then if you've also been someone who's like, I've tried things before, everything I've tried has sort of got me to this point, and that's not nothing. And I do think it's like dating, isn't it? And friends, like, you don't make the first guy you meet your husband, or like, maybe it will work out like that, but you get my gist. Like, you meet a few people and stuff goes wrong a little bit. So it's the same with like any sort of fitness approach. When you look at it like that, I mean, I don't know where I got that analogy from, from fitness stuff to dating, but here we are. So yeah, just thinking if the approach hasn't ever addressed, say, your nervous system, your hormones, like the emotional side of food, that was always a short-term fix when you think about it. Like, this is definitely different. And if you think about, like, if you need to think, or you're thinking maybe I'll wait till whenever, and 8 weeks from now you're either 3 to 4 kg, possibly lighter, you're feeling more regulated and more confident in yourself, like you're happier in your own skin, and that's also having a compound effect in your work. Or you could be in the same place, like planning to start again, looking for a new program, or just taking the same route and then expecting a different destination. Like, the thinking and overthinking, I don't think really changes that. Like, it's just getting into action, making that decision, and then the doing is what does. The doing is what does. I like that one. So yeah, how is this resonating with you girlies so far? Just see in the chat.
Yeah, definitely is. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay. And man, that was so quick, by the way, typing.
Yeah, it so resonated.
Oh, I'm glad. It's good to hear. Yes, absolutely. Clodag, that is not how I'm pronouncing your name.
It's okay. It's Clodagh. The G and the H are silent. Yeah.
Clodag, yeah, I thought so. Thank you, Clodag. That's a gorgeous name, by the way. I haven't heard that before.
Oh, thank you. It's an Irish name.
Oh, it's lovely. It's a really nice name. And then I thought I'd show you inside the Sculpt and Shift program. So if you follow my YouTube and Instagram, you'll have seen this is my new program that's starting this coming Monday. And yeah, I'll just sort of go through like what actually is what I would put you on. So if you to say, come to me inside the Flonase Club, this is the exact reset that I would put you on. So the first one is eating enough food and still being able to get leaner. And like I say, I can guarantee like you'll be feeling like you're eating a lot more food and a lot more regular. And if fat loss is your goal, or if you're leaning towards more body recomp, obviously person dependent, 8 weeks at a 0.5 kg rate of weight loss a week doesn't mean that you will be starving. Like, it just requires the right approach, and you won't feel hungry on taking that approach. Then second thing is you will feel a lot calmer and in control around food. No more sort of 10 p.m. comes around and you're like eating your feelings or snacking as much, because you'll be eating a lot more regular meals, because we're actually working at the root, which is your nervous system. So not just addressing, say, like a symptom. And then another thing is having a natural routine that makes you feel, I love this word, makes you feel like a goddess. Which is a funny one to say, but it really is true. And there's so much like to that. I like the word goddess because it's just looking at things like not working towards certain goals as a punishment, but thinking about movement that you actually enjoy, food that nourishes you, and just creating rituals that regulate you and you feel like you're in alignment across your life. And I think this comes down to a lot of like having clear things in place and just having clarity on knowing exactly what to do every single day, and you're not sort of wondering if something's working, and being able to have that trust. Like, I'd say that's one thing when you can let go of, you know, all the overthinking where you're like, you start a new program and then you're thinking, is this working? Or like by day 4 you're thinking, oh, should I carry on? Or like, it's like you want to revert back to something that's never worked, but it's because of all the sort of old programs that we've ran for, say, like for me it was 6 years or whatever. And this definitely does take away a lot of that. And just on here, so this is how it kind of looks, as in you've got your fat loss meal plan that is like, that gets tweaked, as in you need tweaking, that needs tweaking to your current goals. Like, you might have a fat loss goal, someone else might have a body recomp goal. This program is focused around fat loss, but it can be tweaked to your macros, and then that's all uniquely worked out. So I've got like my videos that explain exactly how to do that, and then the brand new like summer recipes and whatnot, but I won't go too much into that. And then I just want to share Jess particularly. So Jess is the bottom right picture. Jess is a mum, and if you're a mum, you know that you almost come last, almost always, a lot of the time. And she came to me exhausted, running on absolutely nothing, stress eating in the evenings, like after the kids went to bed, and just because it was the only thing that felt like it was just for her. Like, this is the other thing, we don't do sort of like sabotaging habits thinking, oh, this is gonna, I'm gonna gain weight or I'm gonna feel horrendous. Like, there's always sort of a why. Like, it's like a coping mechanism with stress. And she tried a lot of things before, but nothing ever really stuck because it didn't fit around her actual real life. And in 8 weeks she lost 4.5 kg. And that isn't the bit that got me. Like, it's not about weight loss or like certain amounts, but she messaged me and said she'd stopped dreading getting dressed in the morning, and that she actually felt most like herself than she had done like in absolutely years, which makes me emotional. But that is what like this is about. There's so much more to feeling comfortable in your own skin, and it's all around like your habits that again just like compound into absolutely everything else. And then we've got Ellie as well, who she's been a part of Flown. It'll be a year now. She's done like different programs, but yeah, I just wanted to put some of the testimonials on there. But yeah, that's everything that I wanted to cover. Here is how to join. So it is an investment to join Floners Club. So I have got my Sculpt and Shift program starting the 8th, this Monday, and this is £39 a month or £79 for the full 8 weeks up front. And then I've done a code, like a 10% discount code if you did want to join tonight. And that's it for the 8 weeks. So you get the app, the weekly calls with me, the tweaking of your macros, the meditations, new recipes, the community, and we also do a prize at the end. So one of the girlies won a like walking pad, a journal and whatnot as the first prize, another one a one-to-one coaching session, and there's other like bonus prizes, but everything in one place, so there's nothing left out and it's clearly laid out. I feel like people spend this kind of money on say like a weekend away, but that's usually just been and gone by Tuesday. Like, this is 8 weeks that changes how you feel every single day afterwards, and ongoing like lifestyle changes. So yeah, that's what I wanted to cover on there. And I also just wanted to see if you had any questions on anything. I'm happy to answer. I'll exit this actually.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
Mine was just on, so I'm not a vegetarian, but I live in a vegetarian